Thank you, Denise. Connie?
Thank you. When Reverend Robert said, what does it mean to be a practitioner to you? I thought, everything. I've been a practitioner for a long time, and it's part of my life. When we first begin, we're taught to first do the treatment. That is the first goal of a practitioner. If they're asked to do a treatment, do it. And so we do it and we get results. And then in classes, they teach us, learn to do your treatments for yourself and see that it works for you. And then you know it works. When you do it yourself and it works, you are convinced it works. And I think that one of the greatest things that religious science has going for it is our belief in the power of prayer. And miracles and healing does happen. And I know that I have used them in my life consistently and with wonderful results. And there are all kinds of prayers. There's prayers which you do systematically and as your daily meditation, and then there are prayers you do under stress. And there are prayers, there's one prayer that I did here in the church. We needed carpet, we needed this room in the back that we ran to the lawyers. Was just a messy room, cold and messy, and we needed space. But as usual, we didn't have the funds to do anything about it. And I had seen, and we were trying to put the younger children in there, and it just wasn't working out. So I was president of the church council at that time, and I said, oh, I saw somebody nail a bunch of carpet pieces down on the floor, and it looked real nice, and we could spruce that room up. Well, before I knew it, there was a whole bunch of carpet pieces, and they said, here. And I said to myself, I went home that night, and I didn't know what to do, and my prayer was help. I said, God, get me out of this. Just get me out of this, just help me with this. And I went to bed that night and I dreamed a dream. And it was a patchwork quilt. And one of my fellow practitioners had bought a solid piece of carpet. She thought I might need that to kind of pull it together. And so I said, well, I need some volunteers. And then I didn't know how to install it or anything about it, but I had a contractor show up and he put down the chalk lines for putting the solid pieces down and the carpet knives, and told me about contact adhesive. And we put in the squares. And then each volunteer, we chose our color scheme, and each volunteer filled in their little square. And it was very, very attractive. And so that room was being used for the children, but then that didn't last long because the bookstore moved into it. And then classes moved into it. And not only that, it was so pretty that not only did our church people like it, but people from all over the community were coming to see it. So that was my answer to my help prayer. And I've had many adventures in this church over the years, and working with people and loving it and being part of the teaching and the different ministers. I've enjoyed all of them, learned from each and every one of them. And we've had many ministers come through our doors. Joel Goldsmith, Rick Holmes, Maxwell was here, spoke here. And so I've had a wonderful career in this church, and I'm so appreciative of it. So I felt like when I became a practitioner that I had something to give, and I wanted to give it. And I'm so appreciative of the opportunity that I've had to give love and to give appreciation for all that is here. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is so wonderful to see you in person today in the sanctuary, and wherever or whenever you're watching this from home. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Amber Guzman, and I am the newest practitioner for the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. For the installation today. I actually became a practitioner in August, and due to COVID and our stay-at-home orders, there was no pomp and circumstance. And I've had that happen in my life for other reasons, but I'm very appreciative for this. It feels very good. Thank you. So I forgot to bring my timer up here. I've got 10 minutes to give you a power talk. And today's talk is titled Time for a Tune-Up. So I thought that was great because one of my greatest spiritual teachers is my vehicle, my car. He's got a name. His name is Jacob. And Jacob is a 2010 Toyota Prius. When I got Jacob, he was brand new. My first new car. I loved him. I adored him. I knew I was going to go really slowly on the road so I wouldn't get hit. So I got a personalized license plate that says, "You are faster," so everybody else can just go around. I love Jacob, and he got me through a lot of tough times. He literally carried me through those times. And so I'm just going to tell a few stories about Jacob and how his experiences related to my growth in spirituality. So the first story I have is about my windshield. And I call this looking through a clear lens. My father lives in Eugene, Oregon. And when the stay-at-home orders happened, after a while, fear started to creep in. And he was really afraid that he might not be able to see me again for whatever reason. So he decided to take a flight. He flew from Oregon into San Jose. I picked him up, took him home. He spent the night. We had breakfast that morning. And then I took him back to the airport where he flew home. But we were able to see each other, and it was just a wonderful, quick trip, and it was exactly what I needed. Thank you, Daddy. But one thing he noticed while we were driving, he said, "Amber, your windshield is dirty." I'm like, "Dad, I'm trying to impress you. I just got the car washed. It's not dirty, trust me." And he said, "No, really, it's dirty. It's got to be from the inside. It's not clear." So I took him back. And I thought about it. I took a cloth and I just wiped a little circle. I think I mentioned this in one of our classes. I wiped a little circle on the windshield, and sure enough, my car was filthy from the inside. Ooh, that's deep, right? The problem's on the inside. It's an inside job. But the odd thing was I decided not to clear my window, even though I knew it was dirty, and I could see the light shining so much clearer through that window. I drove with that car like that for at least another 2 months. I wasn't quite ready to change my viewpoint. I wasn't quite ready to change the lenses that I was seeing through. And that's the pitfalls of not maintaining your vision. I wasn't able to see clearly, and it can be dangerous. And for me, that's where my practitioners were important. I was able to see Denise. I was able to speak to Connie. I was able to speak to other practitioners. And the things that I wasn't even quite ready to see for myself, they could see for me. That little window of light they could explain to me, and when I was ready, I could see it too. Quick talk. So here's the second story, and it's about my bumper. I went back to the gym recently, and I decided to park in one of those compact spaces because Jacob's a tiny little car. And I don't know if you recognize them, but they've got the curb around them, and then there's usually a tree in the middle of the parking lot. So I pull into the parking space, and I could hear the screech of my car just kind of going over that curb. Oh, it's not a good feeling. But I said, I'll deal with it after I go to the gym. I did my workout, I came back, and I pulled away that vehicle, and it scraped terribly. It was just an awful sound. I drove away, and I could feel something dragging. I got out of the car. This is recent, like Jacob is falling apart now, but I got out of the car and I looked, and my bumper was literally off. You know, it's a little plastic thing. It was dragging on the floor. There was nothing I could do about it at the time. I had to get home, so I just drove it home like that, and my husband couldn't fix it until the weekend, so I had to drive that embarrassing car for like 2 or 3 days. But it reminded me of a story that I heard once. Really, really good story. It always stuck with me. There was a lady that always carried a bag of sacks. You know, I don't know if it was potato in her sacks or what was in those sacks, but she had to walk a great distance with those sacks on her back. And one day, a traveler went by a horse and buggy, and he said, you know, I see you've got a really heavy load. Why don't you let me help you? Why don't you let me take you to your next stop? She said, great. So she climbs in the buggy, and off they go. Well, about a half a mile into that journey, he looks back at the woman who's sitting there smiling with the sacks on her back. And he asked her, you know, what's wrong with you? I picked you up. I'm carrying you across the way. Why don't you set those sacks down? Why are you still holding them? And she replied, because I always have. It's just a part of who I am. And that is why I like going to classes. I think the classes here at the Centers for Spiritual Living give me a new perspective, and personally, they've taught me that sometimes I've carried a lot of burdens that I didn't need to. I carried my sacks. I carried this identity that I placed on myself. My choice. And when I was ready to let them go, it was my decision to put them down. Okay, I don't know how I am on time, but I only had 10 minutes. I think I have like 4 or 5 left. So this last story is about the tires, and it's a real simple correlation. When my tires need to be changed out, I go to fill them up. You know, I get that little low tire pressure light, and that's my signal to go fill up my tires. And that's something that's really important. Obviously, without proper tire pressure, when you're driving on the road, you can have a blowout. You know, it's really dangerous to drive that low. You don't get that mileage. But this part is about meditation. When I breathe in, I pressurize my lungs with air. And when I exhale, I can relax. And all that time, I'm practicing peace. I have a practitioner, one of my favorite practitioners is now a chaplain, Reverend Timothy Rich. He sends text messages out, affirmations that just remind you who you are, the truth. He sent one specifically to me. He told me, I didn't send this to anybody else because he knows that I'm a banker by trade. He told me, bankers study the real thing. They don't study the counterfeits. And when I make it a daily practice to practice peace, There's less chance of an emotional blowout or blow up. I can control my emotions in my situation because I can always go back to the breath. It's the breath that keeps me grounded and the breath that keeps me connected. I feel like I've spent the good portion of my 45 years practicing conflict, road rage, blame, and complaining, and feeling like a victim, like the world was against me, studying negativity. But with the daily practice of meditation, I get to practice peace. So in those times of discomfort, in those times where there's a counterfeit situation going on, I can know what the real thing is, and I can have that peace in any situation. So that's it. That is my power talk. We'll summarize. Number one, meet with a practitioner to see yourself through a different lens. 2, decide when you're ready to release the burdens you are carrying. It's your choice. And 3, when you're low, meditate and fill up on the good stuff. So, in the same fashion that our dear Reverend Robert does, I'll give 3 questions for us to study this week and an affirmation to take us through till next Sunday when he gives our talk. Simple questions. The first one is, what lenses are you choosing to look through? Number 2 is 2 parts. What burdens and baggage are you ready to free yourself from? And who could you become if you decided to release that identity? And the third and last is, what spiritual practice are you doing to refill your spirit? How are you practicing peace? And so our affirmation today to take us through this week is, mental and spiritual tune-ups keep me in alignment with my personal values. I am worthy of maintaining the divine connection that guides my spirituality, relationships, time, and health. And now if you will join me in prayer. I inhale and exhale easily and effortlessly. This earthly life doesn't stop me from recognizing the creator of it all. There is one life, one energy, one vibration that connects us, one love. This idea is the driving force of everything. It goes by so many names. First cause, the universe, the eternal divine. I simply call it God. But whatever it's called, that's all that is happening. There's just God, just good, just love. And there's no midpoint or some circumference in God. God is a circle without boundaries. And because I know that I'm within that boundary. I am made of that same God stuff. God shows up as me, expresses itself as me, drives me, breathes me, moves me, lives me. There's no spot where God is not. And we're always walking on sacred ground. And I know the importance of preserving the connection with God in our day-to-day lives so we can always look through a clear lens. I know the experience that life brings can cause me to bring judgment on myself and others. And I know deep down inside that it's time to release them. And I release them easily. That's not a part of my identity anymore. I know that maintaining that connection can be done by seeing a practitioner, going to classes, meditation. But it can also easily be done with laughter, feeling the breeze on my face, playing with a puppy, all of these things. The comfort comes by seeing God in and as everything. And so I'm filled with gratitude. I'm thankful for this teaching. I'm grateful to have made it through my first talk without passing out. And I am thankful for all the practitioners and ministers who have led me thus far on the way as I continue to grow and expand in my spiritual journey. And I'm thankful for everyone who can hear my voice, because you too are a practitioner. You may not be a licensed practitioner in the Centers for Spiritual Living, but if you focus on God and focus on the good, that means you are practicing peace. So you too are a practitioner, and I'm grateful for you. And now I simply release my word into the law that simply takes what we put in it and brings out the same. It doesn't discriminate, and it always says yes. And with that, I join, and I invite you to join with me, ending this treatment by saying, and so it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amber, for those encouraging and inspiring words, and thank you, Connie and Denise, for sharing and giving us a glimpse of what it is to be a practitioner. This is really it is a way of life. I was looking this morning for somewhere in my apartment is my original practitioner stone from when I was first licensed in 1997. I cannot find it. It'll show up tomorrow because I wanted it for today. It'll show up tomorrow. And anyway, thank you to our virtual community and to our community here in the sanctuary for the way that you lovingly support us with your donations. And this is our time to share in that experience. And we have an affirmation statement that we will post on our screen for us to read, to share. And while we're waiting for that to come up, just want to remind you that your donations are tax deductible. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your contributions support our work in the community. And our affirmation of abundance: I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. I release this physical substance and outer symbol of my inner supply into the physical world. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so it is. And there are multiple ways to donate to the center. You may do so by mailing a check-in to our center, and the address is on your screen. You may make a secure donation to our website, Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, and you may also provide your donations by text, and that number is on the screen. So for those of us who are here in the sanctuary, we do have a donation box that is on the table, the center aisle, and we invite you to take advantage of that. And at this point, we say good morning to our virtual community. Thank you for joining us. And take the messages, take the comments that were shared by the practitioners this morning and apply them in your life. And also take advantage of the tune-up opportunity by reaching out to a minister or practitioner. And you may find our contact information on our website, cslmonterey.org. And so we say to you now, good morning.